Ladies and gentlemen, K Kim here. Today is April 27th, 2020, Monday. Market has been just closed about 10 minutes ago. We did see positive gains today. As you can see, S&P 500 rose 1.46%, closing at 28.7.10 there. So let's continue with our lockdown daily update. I want to start with the short term and just kind of quickly we'll zoom out and look at there a little bit more of a longer term, right? So this was Friday, and we've been talking about this moving average here. This moving average has been pretty crucial, at least looking at things or trying to forecast and to understand at least in the short-term sentiment of things. So since April 26th or 16th, we saw that the short-term moving average rising. We gapped down, and then the short-term moving average was started to flattening out. So we talked about this was kind of a crucial level. We initially popped, pulled back. We talked about some of these levels. We never really got there. And we really held this level. You see that long lower wicks here. Buyers really defended that vicinity. With that move, the moving average the shorter term moving average continued to rise higher. And this was Friday. We got right back up to this recent resistance here. And this is this morning. And you can see first hour, second hour, we continued higher. And this third, fourth, fifth, sixth hour, right? So you can see we hang there a little bit. We saw another move. We saw towards the end of the day ramp and a little bit of fade there. So and that's the level that we've been looking at actually. That's that gap area, and it's not accidental or a coincidence that we got right back at this level. That was that 288 level. Back in March 10th, we saw big gap down. Bulls brought it up, wasn't able to fill this down gap, and we tanked from that. So this is a very psychological level, 288, and that's a resistance level. And so that's the level where the gap, is still there, and that was prior swing high. So let's put the resistance level right there, because I think this is important. This is going to be important level going forward. And what I want to do is we opened up yet another gap for the bulls, right? So you can see that there's a gap there. So what I want to do is I want to move this level back here now, right? So I think that's going to be important level. And then I want to move this here to where the gap is, right? So we got three levels now. So we got 288.41, and that's current resistance, right? So that's the 288.25. That's the current resistance. That was a prior swing high level. We initially did make though. There was a good cultivation happened though. Though we did, we did slightly. It was a slight higher movement, but there was some achievement there. We are continuing to cultivate higher highs, and that's the important part. And and we've been talking about this pretty much throughout the week last week. The cultivation, right? The cultivation of higher highs. And when you see cultivation of higher highs, we want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. And even though there were so many shenanigans, last couple weeks with the gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down, gap up, and pullback. Though we did see a lot of up and down shenanigans, ultimately though, market did make new highs. That's what it did today. And with that, market is continuing to cultivate higher highs there. And when you see that happening, we want to continue to give benefit of doubt to the buyers. in the shorter term. So we have what it looks like a shooting star candle there. So if we do see a follow through, we had something similar right here. Doesn't mean it's going to do something similar. Sometimes a shooting star can be nullified if next day, if we do see something like that, like a bullish candle or something like that. So if next day we see a bullish candle, that will be nullified. But next day we see a follow through though, like this. And this is what bears would want to see. Bears want to materialize, you know, with that evening star type of candle. I mean, that's a shooting star, but if we do see 3-day reversal candle pattern, then if that's what bears want to see, then we got bullish candle there, we got the bearish shooting star candle there, and then if we do see a bearish continuation candle early morning tomorrow, that will make into a evening star reversal. If we see something like that, then there's a pretty good chance that bears want to come down and challenge this gap once again, right? I mean, not once again, but challenge this gap, right? Challenge this gap, because this gap has never been challenged, because we just opened it today and it was never challenged. I mean, the whole day we rallied higher, right? So we got this kind of an uptrend going on here. So that's what bears want to look for, is early, you know, maybe a gap down or early tankage tomorrow morning, and that would potentially make into an island or the evening star reversal, and that will get us to 285, right? So 285, this is why gaps are important, because if the bears do bring it down, 285 is going to act as support, because that's the gap area. And then, you know, and then somewhere in that vicinity, maybe in the middle part also, if the gap starts to come, you know, if bears start to really bring it down, they could potentially come fill maybe halfway or something like that. This is why gaps are important, because if the bears should bring it down, the price should slide, you know, going into tomorrow, this vicinity, this whole vicinity, like 285, 282, all going to act as support. So we'll follow up on that. We're kind of far from this moving average now. It doesn't mean that we have to come back down and retest it. It's just that buying pressure has been that much stronger this time. And let's zoom out a little bit. When we zoom out, and you can see that we have the bulls have opened up many gaps. We got the breakaway gap, we got the island continuation reversal gap, and then we have that continuation gap, right? So we already have a 3 gap, and they're being open. They've been open for quite some time, especially this one. It's been open about a month now. The longer they stays open, the better it is going to be for the buyers. And then we got a little bit of smaller continuation gap there. So I think next thing to look forward to would be retesting this vicinity here, 285, 282, and how this market is going to react in that level. Remember that you know, that pink dotted moving average is in that vicinity of 282. So if should the bears bring it down next couple of days, that level is probably going to act as pretty strong support, unless we see bulls thrusting above this resistance. Thrusting above it. If we see a thrust to the upside, there's a very good chance that bulls really eyeing on to 300. We got another gap here around 300. So we got these down gaps that hasn't been filled. So we're right at the juncture. This is that prior pivot. It was important pivot. It, you know, briefly acted as support. It was a very strong resistance. And after that, market did see a pretty steep decline. That was the level that we saw. We can see about 20-some% decline since that level. And this is the first time since March 10th. It took about almost 2 months to get back up here. Bulls had made us some great progress to come back up here. So this is going to be important pivot level, I think. And it's also pretty strong resistance. So it will be important once we get above this level, though. To 300 is where the bulls are going. If we start pulling back, 283 is going to be the next support to watch. Quickly, before I end this video, I do want to look at the oscillator here real quick, because I do want to let you guys know that the oscillator, again, this is a 65-minute chart, guys. So this oscillator is now finally hitting overbought territory, right at overbought territory, right? So what is that? What does this mean, right? Because now we are at that very, very important pivot level, right? Pivot means it was resistance in the prior, or resistance or support, and then it became either support or resistance. So it was prior support, and then it was prior resistance. Now we're back at this pivot at 187.11 or 188. We pulled back, we faded, we had the shooting star candle, and we just hit overbought level. Overbought level does not mean it must roll over, because you can see back in April 7, we did hit overbought. We initially did pull back though, but you can see with a lot of grinding, higher lows, higher highs move, we ended up coming back here. So even though the oscillators came all the way back down to oversold level, price kind of hang there, right? We kind of consolidated, right? A lot of times that's how bulls like to operate. They want the oscillator reset. Kind of like when you get a good run to the upside, you want to rest before resuming higher. So look at this short-term oscillator as a kind of a running gauge, your energy gauge. So bulls are getting tired in the short term. That's kind of what we're seeing. This does not mean bulls cannot push. It just means the probability of bulls, or let's not put it in a probability, more like they're starting to get tired here. So maybe a little reset, maybe a little rest might be in store, and that would make sense. The bears bring it down, maybe retest 285, 282 going into tomorrow. You guys enjoy your evening, and good luck trading tomorrow.